Good morning, America. A blizzard blanketing the north, dropping more than a foot of snow. Cars sliding and crashing, wind gusts over 70 miles an hour. Temperatures plummet across the country, and the deep freeze moving east. 19 states now on alert as a new snowstorm heads for the west.
Protests at a college campus overnight after a white nationalist leader is invited to the stage.
White people are ruling right now. White people have a tremendous amount of power.
Police in riot gear called in as thousands of outraged students stormed the event.
Banding together. Saints quarterback Drew Brees and other NFL stars appearing at the murder trial of the man accused of killing their former teammate, Will Smith. Shot and killed in a road rage incident. The emotional moments in the courtroom as his wife pleads for justice.
In major detour, Prince Harry breaking palace protocol, making a surprise stop to visit his new love, American actress Meghan Markle. What she is wearing around her neck that has everyone talking, and why the trip is sparking a royal rumble.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. We hope you're well this Wednesday morning, and today we are marking a major anniversary. 75 years ago, the attack on Pearl Harbor. You're looking live at the White House flag at half-staff this morning. More than 2,000 Americans lost their lives in that attack, which of course propelled America into World War II.
And more than 100 survivors made the trip all the way back to Hawaii for the ceremony today.
And I had a chance to go last year. Each time you go, it just fills you with more gratitude for those who serve in our military.
They did so much to make our country what it is today. Here on the mainland, big transition here. Northeast bracing for more snow, out west a messy commute. Take a look at Denver right now. Those are the roads in Denver this morning. It is going to be a tough commute.
Tough commute, a little cold, but check this out, George. This is in North Dakota. This is a door. Somebody opened their door, and look at the imprint on the other side. It looks like the door.
That's not an illusion. That's
real.
That is really something. Ginger standing by with the forecast. ABC's Alex Perez is in North Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota, where the blizzard hit hard. Good morning, Alex.
Ready? Go.
Hey, good morning, George. According to our thermometer, it's just under 10 degrees here, but the feel-like wind chill temperature is about 20 below zero. Now take a walk with me here. The blizzard conditions is so bad that authorities have shut down the main highway here in North Dakota. I-94 shut down for 300 miles.
This morning, dangerous driving conditions across the northern plains.
The hill just got us, and we just started sliding sideways all the ways down the hill.
The blizzard striking North Dakota, making it nearly impossible to see on the roads.
A lot of people spinning around getting stuck.
What?
Over a foot of snow pounding some parts of the state. Wind gusts reaching up to 64 miles per hour.
It was hair-raising because I've never had to drive in that before.
Even snowplows is struggling to drive through the icy mess.
Everybody's stuck down there. We're just having to hold up for 30 or 40 minutes.
Dozens of roads like this one closed, and officials across the northern plains urging drivers to stay home.
We want the traveling public to not underestimate the conditions and overestimate their driving ability.
Go. And here in Bismarck and in parts of the Midwest, they are bracing. The deep freeze is on the way. Guys, back over to you.
Oh, he looks cold.
Yeah, I spent some time in Bismarck. That brought back some memories right there. Can't say they were all good either. A little chilly. And Jen, you have more about, not just there, but it's cold all around the country.
And it's going to get even colder. Check this out. I just wanted to point this out. If you spent time in Bismarck, then you know taking the trash out has to still go on. This is in Minot. And he's in shorts is our question. But other than that, you know, the cold hadn't really settled in yet, but boy, it will. It already is this morning. You saw Alex there, but Rapid City feels like 15 below. Chicago feels like 14 this morning. Even Oklahoma City in the low 20s. That moves to the east Friday into Saturday. Cincinnati 11, Atlanta 17. So it's going to dip all the way into North Florida. Then you look at those 19 states with all the warnings. The lake effect snow in the Tug Hill Plateau could go up to 2, even 3 feet in places, and then the heavy snow, Seattle and Portland both included. So everybody getting a taste of winter, really.
Already hearing about lake effect snow.
And big lake
Putting
effect
on the
snow
board.
to come.
Okay, Ginger, thank you. Now to the latest on the Trump transition. The president-elect holding a thank you rally in North Carolina overnight, introducing his choice for defense secretary as he faces new questions about those Boeing comments. ABC's Tom Yamas is in Raleigh with the Trump team. Good morning, Tom.
Robin, good morning to you. Overnight, the Columbus Dispatch reporting the president-elect will head to Ohio State tomorrow to meet with some of the victims and the first responders from that possible terrorist attack that happened on the campus. This, as you mentioned, the thank you tour rolls on across the country as Trump himself is focusing heavily on the business sector. Nearly a month later, and President-elect Donald Trump still bragging to supporters about election night.
Oh, those numbers are good. We don't talk about numbers, we bring people together, but boy, were those numbers good.
Trump also talking up his transition, predicting his administration is destined for greatness.
I believe we're in the process of putting together one of the all-time great cabinets that has ever been assembled in our nation's history.
The president-elect making official his announcement to nominate retired General James Mad Dog Mattis to lead the Department of Defense.
Mad Dog plays no games, right?
Mattis joining Trump on stage as the crowd chanted Mad Dog. This as Trump has picked a new fight with an American company. Trump tweeting, Boeing is building a brand new 747 Air Force One for future presidents, but costs are out of control. More than $4 billion. Cancel order. Then at Trump Tower, taking the fight to the airwaves.
Well, the plane is totally out of control. I think it's ridiculous. I think Boeing is doing a little bit of a number. We want Boeing to make a lot of money, but not that much money.
And Bloomberg reporting Boeing executives reached out to the Trump transition team after the tweet, expressing the costs could be lowered if the government reduces its requirements. And Trump announcing a new deal and taking credit for a massive investment from Japanese billionaire Masayoshi Son, appearing with him at Trump Tower.
He's pledged that he's going to put $50 billion into the United States because of our victory. He wasn't investing in our country. 50 billion. 50,000 jobs. 50,000 jobs he's going to be investing in. He's a great guy.
But so far, Trump providing no details of when or where those jobs are going. Now, we also want to mention that the son of the president-elect's National Security Advisor, General Michael Flynn, has been asked to leave the transition team. The younger Flynn promoted a story on Twitter, a fake news story that was implicated in that D.C. shooting at that pizzeria. Now, we're told by sources that the call to get rid of Flynn came all the way from the top, from the president-elect himself. George?
Okay, Tom, thanks very much. Let's talk about this now with Matthew Dowd, John Carl. Matt, let me begin with you. So it's pretty clear that the president-elect is signaling a new way of doing business with businesses, naming and shaming them when he has to, embracing them when he can as well. What are the implications?
Well, I think, first of all, we have no idea what his broad economic policy is, but I think it's very interesting. He's in sort of the picking the winners and losers, much of what President Obama was criticized by conservatives for. This guy seems like he's Monty Hall and let's make a deal for figuring out which ones he wants, which ones he doesn't like, and shaming the ones he thinks are doing bad and rewarding ones he thinks are doing well. In the end, they're going to have to be tested on truth or consequences, what he does and how it really impacts the economy.
That's the end, John Carl, and short-term helping him.
There's no question. Look, what voters see is they see him doing these symbolic gestures exactly along the lines of what he campaigned for, bringing jobs to America, fighting government waste with the
Whether or not the fine print backs it up.
I mean, there are huge questions about all of these, but there's a new Bloomberg poll out that shows his approval rating at the highest point ever. I mean, throughout the entire campaign, he is now more popular. It's only 50%, low by the standards of new presidents, but higher. And 55% of the country saying they are optimistic about a Trump presidency.
Right. You had President Obama come in 2009 at about 78%. Yeah. Some concern in that poll also about President-elect Trump and his businesses.
Yes, the poll shows clearly 2/3 of the public says that he has to choose between being president and being the head of his company. But the poll also shows that the public is optimistic that he will do just that. And they know this is a very critical issue. That's a real vulnerability for Trump. If he is seen as having conflict of interest, you'll see that approval number come way down. That's why he is divested, he says, from all his public stock holdings. And we're going to have this big announcement next week about his company.
Yeah, and the question is, Matthew Dowd, how far does he go with that announcement next week of walling himself off from the businesses?
Well, I think one of the questions is how long are the conservatives and the Republicans in Congress going to give Donald Trump a pass? Right now, they're giving a lot of leeway to go in this direction that seems much more like an Obama type economic policy than a Republican economic policy on trade, on taxes, on businesses, and all of that. That is the real fundamental question is will conservatives keep giving him a pass on going against traditionally conservative policy?
A lot of big questions ahead. Thank you both very much.
All right, George, we're going to move on now to those protests overnight at Texas A&M. Thousands upset over an appearance by a white nationalist leader. Nightline anchor Juju Chang spoke with a man at the center of the controversy, and Juju joins us now from College Station, Texas. Good morning, Juju.
Good morning to you, Robin. Tempers flared on campus with crowds chanting, "Say no to hate." In fact, the protesters far outweighed the few supporters of the racially extreme views of Richard Spencer. He is the white nationalist who told us that it is Donald Trump who has catapulted his movement into the national spotlight.
Tensions running high overnight at Texas A&M as thousands came out to protest this man.
White people are ruling right now. White people have a tremendous amount of power.
Richard Spencer claims he's not a white supremacist. Credited with coining the term alt-right, he's known for promoting white nationalism and the creation of an all-white ethno-state. Going viral last month after this video emerged of him shouting, "Hail Trump, hail victory," as attendees of his National Policy Institute event gave the Nazi salute.
Hail Trump!
Spencer, a racial extremist with controversial views of racial differences, was drowned out by protesters in College Station, Texas. The vast majority of his audience was there in protest, with multiple outbursts and clashes erupting during his speech. Security had to intervene to de-escalate several volatile exchanges. At one point, police in riot gear entered the student union, but none of the hostility took Spencer off message.
I see myself as mainstream. I want to be mainstream.
And
I want to be part of an elite.
Are you trying to normalize racism?
Yes, I'm trying to normalize racism, as you call it. Absolutely, I'm trying to normalize my ideas, our ideas of the alt-right, yes. I do not want the alt-right to be a fringe movement. I want the alt-right to be a dominant movement.
Texas A&M, you should know, did not invite Richard Spencer. It was a former student who did that. And even though they denounced his views, they said once the room was booked, they felt they had to adhere to his First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. Robin?
Juju, I know you're going to have more of your interview with Richard Spencer tonight on Nightline. Can you give us a little bit more of a sense of what he talks about?
Well, I asked him about his controversial views and whether he was playing with fire using a lot of the Nazi symbolism that went viral when his supporters did the Nazi salute, frankly, after a speech. And he said that that was irony and exuberance on the part of his supporters. But there's a lot to dig into, Robin.
Many will be watching you tonight on Nightline. Thank you, Juju.
Yeah. Well, that's some explanation.
No doubt. Now let's turn to New Orleans, where a murder trial is underway for the person who shot former NFL star Will Smith in a road rage incident. ABC's Ryan Smith is here with more. And Ryan, it was pretty powerful to see his Saints teammates show up in support yesterday.
Oh, you're right, Michael. It was incredible to see star quarterback Drew Brees and others among the players at the trial of Cardell Hayes, accused of gunning down Smith in April. Now, Hayes is charged with second-degree and attempted murder, pleading not guilty, claiming that he feared for his life. This morning, the man accused of gunning down former NFL star and Super Bowl winner Will Smith in a deadly case of road rage on trial. Teammates of the former New Orleans Saint, including star quarterback Drew Brees, running back Deuce McAllister, and safeties Roman Harper and Steve Gleason, arriving in court Tuesday, watching as prosecutors argued 26-year-old Cardell Hayes pumped 7 bullets in Smith's back after a traffic incident turned violent in April. This surveillance video obtained by ABC News showing what appears to be Hayes' Hummer on the night in question, seemingly bumped by a car matching Smith's SUV. That SUV driving off with the Hummer in pursuit. Just blocks away, according to authorities, Hayes allegedly slamming the NFL star's car, the pair exchanging words, then Hayes opening fire. Smith pronounced dead on the scene. His wife Raquel shot in the leg. Taking the stand Tuesday, she broke down in tears, telling the jury, "I don't want sympathy, I want justice." Adding of Hayes, "He didn't have to shoot my baby." Emotional when recalling her 7-year-old son's reaction to learning of his father's death. "Mommy, I'll protect you now." Prosecutors' first witness was former Saints star running back Deuce McAllister, who testified that Smith was a caring person. Now, prosecutors are expected to call experts on traffic collisions soon, and if convicted of murder, Hayes faces life in prison.
Got to keep our eye on this one.
Tough case.
Tough case.
Thank you, Ryan. Moving on now to the latest on that Oakland warehouse fire. Investigators say a refrigerator or another electrical appliance could have sparked the blaze. We're getting a new look inside the building before it burst into flames. ABC's Kana Whitworth is on the scene in Oakland.
This morning, officials are examining a refrigerator as well as other electrical items inside the warehouse as possible causes for the massive inferno. All but one of the 36 victims has been identified as we learn more details about those deplorable living conditions inside the ghost ship warehouse.
It was a hellhole. It was a death trap.
Shelley Mack says she lived there for 5 months. She took this video before the fire, showing crumbling walls, endless clutter, and one of those staircases dimly lit and difficult to navigate. The building was permitted for use only as a warehouse, not for housing. The city had received at least 6 complaints about the property in the last 2 years, including a police raid this past October. Property manager Derek Elmena offering an apology.
What else do I have to say?
What about the people that said that the place but refused to say whether or not he should be held accountable. Sergeant Ray Kelly now revealing most of the victims died of smoke inhalation. Those trapped in the raging blaze sending text messages to loved ones saying goodbye.
We found a lot of victims in the wreckage here that were holding each other and caring for each other as they waited to die.
So officials were able to recover several cell phones from the scene of this fire, and they contained pictures and video, and that's helping authorities piece together a timeline of what happened. And George, local authorities here have declared a state of emergency. This is so catastrophic.
But they have. We're hearing about the text is just heartbreaking.
It really is.
Amy, now here with today's other top stories, starting with a major earthquake overseas.
That's right. A frantic rescue effort is underway after a powerful quake hit Indonesia overnight. Rescuers are working their way into collapsed buildings, which came down after the magnitude 6.5 quake struck. The death toll right now is up to nearly 100 people. That is the same region that was devastated by the 2004 quake and tsunami, which killed more than 100,000 people. There was no tsunami overnight associated with this earthquake. Well, the threat against the Los Angeles transit system appears to be a hoax. The FBI said overnight there is no evidence the threat was credible, but police will stay on, quote, a heightened state of awareness. And it was 75 years ago today that Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. When it was over, more than 2,400 Americans lost their lives. Today, 4 of the 5 remaining survivors of the USS Arizona, all in their late 90s, will attend a special ceremony in Hawaii. And finally, if you say you'll only enjoy holiday travel when pigs fly, well, you should head to the San Francisco airport. It now has a therapy pig there. That's Lilu. She's on the team of animals who help reduce stress at the airport. They already have therapy dogs and cats, but Lilu is the first therapy pig at an airport, complete with painted nails, by the way. So now nervous passengers can go whole hog.
Once again, wait for it. Wait for it.
It's coming.
Whole hog. I hear they're surprisingly clean.
Yeah, and they're really cute.
Yeah, adorable.
I like to have a pet pig.
I know.
Yeah, Betsy.
You had a pet pig.
Yeah, named Betsy. Don't
That's
ask me
how
what
it
happened,
is.
but we had a pig named Betsy.
I'm afraid to ask what happened to Betsy. And look at Ginger. Ginger's just shaking her head as well.
Oh, Betsy.
I know.
Oh my goodness, it didn't just snow in the Dakotas, but look at that Mumford, New York, some fresh accidents, and a quick look at that lake effect snow, the cold air piling on over the warmer waters, and you're going to get snow in Michigan, also western New York and Pennsylvania. All right, let's get to the Windy Cities now, brought to you by Burlington.
We always come to Burlington to buy our coats.
And we also come to give them back, to help those in need. Can't beat the brands, the styles, and when we donate a coat at Burlington, we get 10% off our entire purchase. Burlington's been collecting coats for 10 years.
Bring in your coats! Look who's lining up to donate coats and share the warmth. For 10 years, together we've helped keep America warm. And now this year,
it's getting a little cold outside, so I wanted to remind everybody to go and donate a coat.
So go to any Burlington store to donate a coat and be part of our annual coat drive.
Our highest temperatures over the next 5 days today will go from the 20s and 30s to topping out today in the upper 40s to around 50 degrees. Some bright sunshine for the afternoon. That puts us at more seasonal temperatures running right near average for today. Now, a cold front comes through tomorrow, could deliver a sprinkle or a flurry. Road temperatures, though, warm, so no issues. But the wind picks up, especially through Friday with those winds at 35 miles per hour. Wind chills in the 20s and 30s. Friday and Saturday, the weekend.